Our big thing on these bikes is, we want to get people excited about custom again. And, I've said this now for a while, choppers and Pro Streets didn't go out of style because they're not cool. They went out of style because they weren't fun to ride, right? So that's where, kind of a light bulb went off, and I just said, let's take the touring bike and let's keep the, M8 platform and the fuel injection and the fly-by-wire, and we can put good suspension in the front and back of it, and we can put radial brakes on the front and back, and we can do all those kinds of things, and we can build a reliable 124 motor that we're putting in all the touring bikes we've been doing, and we can run mid controls from HHI and things like that, where the biggest thing was making a functionable, rider friendly, hit the button and go type motorcycle on today's current platform that you can ride across the country, right? So that was our whole thing. So we've got it done. This started out as a 2021 Road King, and we built it for Daytona 2025 this year. We debuted it there. And what we really did with this one is last year we built our first, custom, starting with a Road King touring platform, right? And that one was more of a chopper-based bike where we had upstretch, a little bit longer front end, a little bit louder paint and things like that. And this one we wanted to go kind of the exact opposite, right? Stripped down, Pro Street, long, low, lean, and really start with, the same platform of the bike, but show that we can do it a different style also, where, the frame's got outstretch, no upstretch, a little bit more rake in the neck, a little bit more, kicked out in the front end, only a 2-over front end, things like that, to really kind of grasp a different realm of style, with these. So, we really went back to the drawing board with that one we did last year. It was really, everybody kind of, looked at us kind of crazy when we would say, this bike is, it's a full-blown custom, but it was a prototype bike. It was an R&D bike. It was, we were out there, pounding miles on it, ripping it around with the guys and everything like that, and, throwing it through everything because we never done anything like that, right? So, we learned a lot. There was a lot of things that we did. I shouldn't say a lot, but a fair amount of things that we did on that particular bike. And with this one, we did a lot of different things also. We curved the down tubes, we machined the gussets in the neck, curved the backbone of the bike and everything like that. And then, still used our same recipe, right? We had a lot of people were interested in that chopper one that we did last year. But this one, when we debuted it in Daytona, it was just kind of, we hit it out of the park, and, a lot different. It's stripped down, it's clean, there's no, artwork to it. It's just, a solid color with a little bit of accent, but again, we did that same deal where it's got our front fender on it, that's in carbon, our touring front fender. We've got a carbon rear fender on the bike, and things like that. And then, what's really cool is with our capabilities now, even in the 1-year span from the one we built last year to this one, is we redefined and made new, strut covers for the back. We redefined and made some changes to the side covers, so everything we're doing, we can CNC machine everything. We've got new risers that have the gauge in it now. A lot of just user-friendly stuff. We made a really, really rad little billet aluminum battery box that holds, your ECM that we use from ThunderMax NAMZ. It's got a smaller Softail battery in it. It's got everything in there. So you take the seat off of this thing and you literally see a battery and ECM and a couple circuit breakers, and that's it. And our big thing is cleanliness when it comes to these bikes, and we get really excited about them, and we want to show people, again, let's get excited about custom again. Let's get out there, let's have a good time, let's start pounding the miles on a bike that's reliable, that's rideable, and things like that. So we really kind of just tip-to-toed it, and feel like we did a really great job, and now it's time, to start riding it like we did last year's one and really hit it and start riding it hard. It's been really cool when we got to Daytona and had a lot of guys that we look up to in the industry and that I've known for a long time. And we're still getting compliments and things like that on this one that, we hit that stance, we hit that mark on it. And, for us, that's really, really exciting and things like that to see the industry's reaction to a bike like this. And the same as the public, right? The general public was kind of, in awe of what it is, and everybody's like, well, that's not a bagger, or, oh, that's just, it's an FXR because of the side covers we made and things like that. And then you get to, actually tell people about the bike instead of just seeing pictures of it online, and they're really interested in, and it really kind of gets their, their brain rolling, just kind of like mine does, right? And, with really the hands that Lee and I put on this thing, it was wild. we put it together in only, I think, a couple months. Lee hit it absolutely out of the park with, the fabrication on it, working with me on what was in my brain, because we don't sketch anything around here, right? Everything we do, it's like, I see it in my mind, Lee's on board with it, and we just go to town. Ultimately we start cutting, we fixture everything. All the little, cool little, hidden things, and all those are just little things that we've learned over the years of, just building bikes for, as long as we have now. And we just like pushing the limits, and the biggest thing about with us, we'll push the limits as far as we feel comfortable, where it's still a rideable motorcycle. And that's the biggest thing, where, we want to see, our guys, other guys, everything like that, really getting out and riding these, right? And our really the direction we want to go with it is, grab a road king, grab a street glide, grab a road, street glide, whatever you want to grab a late model touring bike, and you can do this, modify the frame, and then, you can purchase we're setting it up as, a la carte parts line, right? Where, we can get you the front fender, we can get you the rear fender, we can get you the wheels, we can get you the risers with a gauge mount in it, we can get you, our proprietary side covers, our strut covers, our battery box, all that type of stuff, where we want to see guys get in their garage and really have a good time building, spinning wrenches with their buddies again and things like that, getting guys excited, a little bit kind of that next step more than, grabbing a part online and getting it and, you pop it on, right? That's cool, that's fantastic, it definitely, personalizes your motorcycle, but there's nothing, cooler than, a bike that you've customized and it's yours, you designed it, you picked everything out, you take it off the lift for the first time, and it really, you see it on the ground, and it's a whole nother feeling that you can't explain, unless you've done it. And I really do see, the industry and the market and everything like that going back to custom, where, things like this will really pop, because literally turn the switch and, turn the ignition switch and go, and have a good time riding it. So, biggest thing for us is, this is really where we're going. We're putting a lot of focus into these bikes, where we want to see guys be able to do it, and things like that, where we want to be that driving force, that kind of, ahead of the curve, and get out there, ride them, have a good time. We're going to bring it around, we're going to ride it, we're going to have fun, and hopefully inspire people to get back to, building a custom motorcycle and, really chopping it up like these things were, originally intended for. So, definitely stay on the lookout of where we show up with the bikes. We've got the other ones still. We've got a parts line coming for them, things like that. So, make sure and stop by at Sturgis. We're going to have it. We'll have a couple other ones, things like that. So we really want to get people excited. So, if you don't see us, if you're not local, if you don't see us at any of the littler events that we're going to do this summer with this, definitely come out. We'll be at Black Hills Harley Davidson again, where we've been for the last, I think, 5 or 6 years. Right on Performance Row, and come and check it out. Swing a leg over it. We want to get people, amped up on these things and get really excited about them.